It's Group F of the World Cup. The F, of course, stands for fun. Maximum fun. And the teams are very fun, like Belgium, Croatia, Canada, and Morocco. Very fun teams. And if you like these teams and all the videos we're about to do, this is Liam. He's a tactics writer for The Athletic. He wrote all these tactical previews in The Athletic that I've stolen all my work from. Very useful, thank you. So we're going to tell you how these teams play in the World Cup in this group and what they do. And if you like that and any of the videos we've done on Tifo IRL, please do subscribe. Not please do subscribe to the channel. I would like that very much. Let's go into Belgium now. They are still managed by Roberto Martinez. He's still there. They still have lots of players you might remember, like Jan Vertonghen, Toby Alderweireld, these guys, Axel Witsel. They're all still there. Eden Hazard doesn't get a game for Real, but he's there. Now, what they do, as you probably have seen in the past of Belgium, very similar. They play a very high possession-based game. The wing-backs will often be like pure wingers up here. So if the striker, it could be Lukaku. He struggled with injuries for Inter Milan of late, so you might have Batshuayi, a couple other players that can come in and replace him there. But say this is Lukaku starting, you might get wingers here, and you have a box midfield. So De Bruyne, Eden Hazard, perhaps Dries Mertens could come in, he's still there, and come around. And so essentially you get is either a 3 and a 2 here, and then a 2 and a 3, or you might have the wing backs push back slightly deeper, and then you very much get like something slightly different. You might get these guys push out and make your 3 with a 2 in the middle. There's just various shapes that they can pitch together, maybe a 2-3 and then something like this. There's lots of shapes you'll get, lots of rotations in the midfield, but it's all about keeping possession. What else do Belgium do?
Score lots of goals under Roberto Martinez. I think it's something like 2 games under him where they haven't scored because they've got a real good variety of attacking options, as you mentioned. I think Lukaku's really key. He's probably one of the best players, if not the best in the world, at receiving the ball, particularly under pressure against the defender, can then spin or can play set passes into these players then who want to be between the lines. And of course, Kevin De Bruyne can score from pretty much anywhere, right?
Takes a lot of shots from long range, right? It's often getting these positions so that the other players will pin these guys back. Meunier underlaps, overlaps, there's just lots of movement, lots of rotations.
Yeah, but very fluid box. There's times where De Bruyne will pull out wide, other players will come in and sort of fill it in. I guess it's that principle of just having players, forming the shapes and having the occupation across the length and the width of the pitch.
So often they'll have like De Bruyne will drop into a deeper position. Say like maybe you might not have Witsel or Tielemans, whoever's there. Let's say they are here, right? So even though Witsel and Tielemans are part of the midfield, striker up here, we often get an early build-up. Is that they'll look for long diagonals out from these sorts of positions because you can make a team be nice and compact and then try and hit them. The big long diagonal, send the ball into someone like Carrasco, who then becomes a winger. So he's a wing back in out of possession, but very much a winger when they're in possession and try and get things to happen in the final third. But then they've got some good players on the bench. Ish, like De Ketelaere is at AC Milan. I said his name wrong, it doesn't matter, let's go with it. Onana's at Everton, he's all right. Thorgan Hazard, that's Eden's brother. He can play on the left as well.
Yep.
Few options, bit of pace, but they can be slow and build up sometimes, and you can catch them in transition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about Belgium?
It's quite old at the back.
Oh yes.
There's the idea that they've had what's felt like a really good squad at lots of major tournaments now, and then underperformed, which doesn't mean they're going to necessarily not be good now. But we've seen this before, and probably at times gone, they're good, and then they've not won.
Well, I guess the tactical thing that is relevant about that is that if you're playing a high line like they do with pushed up wingers, obviously you then you got to cover a lot of the space in here with these wide players here. But if opposition teams can pin them and get balls in behind, so there's a turnover and they can get it in behind, there's not a lot of pace from Alderweireld, Vertonghen and De Bast. So that could be the problem that Belgium face, possibly. But they don't have, the teams in their group, some of them are all right. Like the next team we're going to look at, Canada. The
best team in North American qualifying, actually. They won the...
Is that right?
The octagonal, as it's called. So very good, obviously a team that I think a lot of us won't have seen too much of. They've got some really cool players that might look a bit different to how we've seen them at club level. I think the big one that stands out is Alphonso Davies. We're very used to him being there and basically just going at breakneck speed up and down the wing.
He's a left back for Bayern Munich, right? So even like here you see him normally, but
yeah,
he is constantly,
exactly.
What does he play for Canada?
So in this we've shown them up in sort of similar to Belgium, like the 3-box-3. John Herdman, who is a very successful manager with Canada, lots of great stuff you can read about him. Very tactically flexible. Their opening game of third round qualifying, they drew 1-1 against Honduras, had 65% possession, Very next game had 28% against the USA, so they will literally adapt very meticulously. And this is one of the reasons why. They've got Alphonso Davies in this like attacking midfielder role. He likes to receive high up the pitch. They'll try and play into him. They'll sort of stretch the team nice and wide, and they'll try and play these nice vertical passes into Davies so that he can face up and he can be running at defences and sort of try to create attack nicely. They like to push Sam Adekugbe nice and high up the pitch.
Oh yes, he's key, this guy. So
he's very good.
You think Davies would play at left wing back, but he doesn't. It's actually this guy here who then constantly overlaps to give him the license to move inside. But Davies still tends to attack this sort of half space an awful lot. Yeah. He can play left, and sometimes they change because they are very tactical. They have different tactics for different needs, and so they'll often change to something like these sorts of shapes. So this is from the article that we stole it from Liam's article. 4-2-3-1, 10 games, 3-4-3, 4 games, 4-4-2. Very different. I mean, this essentially is this when it defends in a certain way. But what they do have, Canada, I would say, is a strong, strong physical attributes. So Davies, lightning fast. Jonathan David, another really fast player. They often have midfielders who can drive from deep to the final third, but they don't have a huge amount of. I know I'm trying to give them an opposition to play against because it's too easy otherwise. There we go. I like this better now. What do they have? What do they lack? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses?
I suppose the key strength from what the people that I've spoken to is really their sort of transition game, which links to their speed and their sort of ability to attack teams really quickly. I think it was something like 4 of their goals came from sequences lasting longer than 20 seconds or something in qualifying. So lots of goals from quick, not necessarily pure counter-attacks, but these nice vertical attacks. They like to get these forward passes in from Eustachio, great sort of deep line midfielder. As you say, get the wing back advanced, and this left half space in particular is a really big area of chance creation for them because they like to get in either Davis playing in Adekugbe or maybe Adekugbe sliding in Davis and David or Carl Laren, wherever he is, somewhere on the bench.
He's here.
He's there.
Yeah, I remembered.
That's good. Glad someone's paying attention. But he would often score lots of goals off cutbacks, close to goal, sort of really fluid, dynamic attacking team.
And that's all well and good, but I think we should talk to one of my friends now, a mysterious man called Mauricio Pochettino.
Okay. It is Mauricio.
Hi.
Hi, it is Mauricio. Again. Welcome to the Athletic, no? Football hotline. Okay. How I can help you? I need to repeat. Easier to manage Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar. Hi, it is Mauricio. Welcome the Athletic Football Hotline. How may I help you?
Oh, there he was. Wasn't that nice? Now, the next team we've got is Croatia. I like this guy, Josko Gvardiol, good young centre-back, a wonder kid, you might say. But what they do is nothing, there's nothing secret about this. Everyone knows how they play. It's a 4-3-3, like to keep possession. They have one of the most technically gifted midfields in the entire tournament. Like Kovacic, Modric and Brozovic are all incredible at being able to evade pressing teams and get out of that. I don't want to say press resistant. I don't want to say that word. But they're really good at keeping the ball and keeping it ticking over. Then they've got wide players like Perišić, right-footed left winger, will come inside. They've got options up front. Kramaric is more of a penalty box poacher, maybe target man sort of thing. Vlasic is more of a midfielder forward rather than a winger. So they will come inside like this. Then the key is their overlapping fullbacks. And they'll always have these guys come up. Could be Barisic rather than Sosa. Stanisic might be here. They do have options. Juranovic. Never play. Does he want to come on? He doesn't want to play. But Juranovic of Celtic can maybe play. And then, like we say, we keep this midfield 3 and they tick everything along. So everything flows through them. They keep them nice and safe so they don't have to worry too much about the counter-attacks so they can push up like this. And the way they create chances is in this shape. And it's often just by having one player on the ball wide and then they double stack the back post. So a team drops back like this. The wide midfielder will come out and try and stop this guy. That's what you'll get. And then it's just cross after cross after cross towards Perišić, maybe Kramaric at the back post. What else do they do?
I think just this really well is a big part of why they're successful. Often you're then getting the opposite fullback, even pushing higher, ending up in the penalty area as that cross is coming in. So they've got so many bodies in there that they can either score off of a one-touch finish or they can set it down for a teammate to score. They've got players in place to get rebounds. So I think they're really a super strength in terms of the team at wide and crossing.
And where do they aim their crosses, Liam?
Great question. Should we have a look?
Yes.
Here's one I made earlier.
Well, there's more what you show me on the board there, but what I'll do is show me this graphic that I've also stolen from your work. Here is what they do. Croatia's chance creation mostly comes from wide areas, so you can stop them there, you're all right, because they've got Kramaric in the middle, maybe a couple of their strikers that they could play in those areas and follow up with second balls, but this is what you see from them. Lots of chances from wide areas. Is there a particular reason this is a good stat? Is this a...
They were one of the top sides for chance creating crosses, but quite a few teams actually scored more goals, so then it's a balance again of their top scorer. I believe Modric was their joint top scorer in sort of World Cup qualifying.
him and Perišić on 3 goals, I think.
Which I think just sort of underlines again, you can see sheer amount of crosses in terms of chances created, but not a hell of a lot of goals.
No, but one more interesting thing about that sort of crossing statistic or stuff we're talking about is that they don't hook the ball into the 6-yard box, they very much try and put it into this area. So it's this area where the ball goes, it's not this area. Not that one, this one. This one good, this one no. And that's what they do. That's Croatia. God, we're all learning so much today. Next is Morocco. Morocco are another team. Every team is a 4-3-3. Every team is 4-3-3 with inside forwards or inverted wingers, whatever you want to call them. Ziyech's back in the team, he was out for a while.
He was, he's back in.
Boufal used to play for Southampton, and Nesri's most likely the striker. So this is what they do, they come inside from here. So many teams do this, you know, the inside forwards, and then you get overlapping fullbacks. And this is the strength that Morocco have, is their fullbacks are amazing. So Achraf Hakimi plays for PSG, absolutely brilliant fullback, really attacking. But Mazraoui is also a right-footed fullback, but he tends to play on the left.
He does. I don't have an explanation for that. He's just really good, so I guess they want to play both of the fullbacks.
It's like getting Kieran Tierney and Robertson in the same team.
It's exactly the same. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But different.
But that's what they do, right? This is what I've seen from them, is that they do this.
Yep.
They don't have a pretty amazing midfield. They have a defensive midfielder, normally Amrabat, then the 2 midfielders, these can change. I'm not exactly sure if these will be the centre midfielders or whether these will be the centre backs.
But that's their big sort of area of weakness when I was looking at them in preparation, is they probably lack a real progressive central midfielder, which is why, as you were saying, these fullbacks do have to make these overlapping runs, and they make them really, really early. So often they'll be building up from the goalkeeper, and as soon as that pass comes in to a centre back, they'll be looking to either receive or push forward. And often when they overlap, they might just stay there, they might tuck inside. There'll be times where they'll effectively be building up with a back 3, or a central midfielder might drop in, and the fullback will just stay there, and they'll just stay there in advanced areas, because clearly they're the creative hub, so they're trying to find these pockets of space, either out wide, centrally in here, or out high and wide, and again, that suits the players that play inside them that like to cut in.
And out of possession, if they do lose the ball, what they tend to do, they don't press rapidly high up. What they tend to do, what I think they do, it's like a 4-1-4-1 out of possession, so it looks more like this, and it's a mid-block, so they'll start it, maybe a bit higher actually, and we'll put them up a little bit and get rid of these lines. So they tend to be more like this, yeah, we'll put 4 like this. But the thing with them is they're not, although this looks compact and they've got protection from the defensive mid in front of the lines here, other teams have played through them, so there are ways that teams can work the ball cleverly from side to side, and then try and engineer, I'll put this different colour, like yellow the most. So teams are able to thread passes through like this sort of gap into a striker, or they might try and have a striker that drops in, drags a defender with them, and then someone else pushes into that space. And
I'm not sure that's a huge strength of these central defenders, is tracking runners coming in. I think particularly in sort of the central area, they're maybe not the most mobile team, so can really be picked apart there.
Who's the best team in this group, Liam?
Who's the best team in this group?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good question. I'd go for Belgium.
Belgium, it's probably Belgium. Croatia also good. Morocco also good. Canada also good.
Everyone's good.
Also good. So there you go. Canada, also good. Everyone is good. Group F is the group of fun. Hope you enjoy the fun of the World Cup.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic brings you the best sports journalism in the world in a personalised experience, connecting you with the stories and teams that you care about the most. There's coverage of 13 sports, plus direct access to world-class journalists through live Q&As, discussions and podcasts. And you can try it now for free for 30 days by clicking the link in the description.